there, welcome to this episode of Chiromo Hospital Group's PodMind, your go-to mental health podcast. This episode is brought to you by the Tufunguke Initiative, and this is an initiative run by the Chiromo Hospital Group, which works to destigmatize mental health by having open, candid conversations around matters mental health. I'm very excited to be having this episode today because I'm joined by an amazing panelist. This is not her first time on PodMind. She has been here before. I'd like to give you a chance to say hi and introduce yourself to our audience.
Okay, thank you so much, Pendo. My name is Magdaline Njambi. I am a clinical psychologist with over 4 years of experience dealing with matters on mental health. So I do see patients from diverse backgrounds, from different age groups and age sets who are going through different issues such as maybe depression, anxiety, stress, trauma, and other mental illnesses, as well as other people who don't necessarily have a mental illness, but they're going through other life challenges, maybe at the place of work or in their relationships or at home or interpersonal relationships. So that has basically been my experience, and I'm really happy to be part of this discussion today. Please excuse me a little bit. I do have a bit of a cold, so if you feel like my voice is a bit hoarse at some points, do give me the understanding for that particular part. Yeah.
No problem, Magdalene. I'm sure that people who are wondering, I'm saying that you've been on this, you've been on our podcast before, but they're not sure exactly how. Let me start by introducing that PodMind not only exists through the video shows that you have. PodMind is also part of the recordings that you do of online conversations, which you can access through Apple Music or Spotify. Just search PodMind by Chiromo Hospital Group, and you will be able to listen to all the recordings that have been there in the name of creating awareness around matters mental health. Let me start with an interesting fact. And I just learned this today. I don't know if you knew about this. Did you know that the average person has 1 to 4 close friends?
Oh, okay.
Just 1 to 4. I don't know how many close friends you have. Allow me to throw you under the bus.
Actually, it's the truth. I have 4 close friends, female friends. So we're a group of like 5 people, and these are people that I share a lot with, either the things that I'm going through or the place of work, or even having fun with them, or talking about finances or different things. So that's quite an on spot statistic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think it actually works for me too. I have around 3 to 4 close friends, including my siblings. So I'll just throw them in there. But some of you would be wondering, why are we talking about this? The topic for today's session is about the people in our lives and the role that they play in our mental health. We want to talk about that. Magdalene, let me start off with this. Why do you think it's important that we're talking about the people in our lives, our social connections, when it comes to our mental health?
Okay. I think I'd first of all start by the statement that goes, no man is an island, And for me as a therapist, the kinds of patients I tend to see, the ones who do have a better prognosis are the ones, or like a better outcome rather, are the ones who have a stronger social connection, or they have a stronger social support, or even family support from their families or even their friends. So you'll find they might recover at a quicker rate compared to someone who's isolated, compared to someone who doesn't have a family or background or a social support to navigate through the different issues they're going through, or even to just hold their hands and just tell them, it's okay, take your time, here with you, don't worry about the bills or the charges that might occur, we're going to support you through this. So you end up focusing on your own mental health. So what I've seen for people who do have a stronger social connection, they have better prognosis in terms of their mental health and reduced levels of whatever illnesses that they are going through compared to somebody who doesn't have a strong social connection.
Wow. It's interesting that you've said that. Also being a psychologist, one of the key protective factors that you look at is, does this person have family who is coming to visit? Friends, are they making friends even in the facility? So it's very important that we look at who are the people in our lives. Let me throw this into this conversation. We live in a very digital world. I mean, I'm sure that people who actually, we're using that platform to create awareness, and we cannot ignore some of the connections that people have formed online. How would you differentiate social connections, impactful social connections, and the following that you have on our social media platforms?
That's a good question. I think I'd differentiate it in terms of, one is based on quality, the other one is on quantity. So for like social connections or social networks, these are people that we are already in relationships with, that we are maybe in constant relationship or communication with, that we can, spend time with them or get to know how they're doing, or they know how we're doing, and we have maybe a good time together and we support each other. But when it comes to like maybe like a following, like social, for example, friends on Facebook, you might have like 1,000 people on Facebook who you call your friends, but they're not really your friends. This is just on the quantitative level, like how popular you are or how well known you are maybe in the society, but it does not translate to like deeper connections with the people around you. So that's how I would differentiate it. So it's more of quality and quantity.
There's a word that you use there, and I've heard this one a lot, but in this conversation particularly, it feels like it's standing out a lot more. Relationships. We talk of relationships every single day, and when you're talking about the impactful connections we have, you mentioned the relationships that you have. I can imagine that I have formed a relationship with my friends, but not everyone who follows me probably on Facebook or something like that. So it was very interesting. It felt like a light bulb kind of moment there. When we look at these social connections, I know we've talked about how important they are to us, but if you're to break it down, how important is it for us to have these social connections on a day-to-day basis? Why is it important to have social connections?
Okay, so it would provide you, first of all, number one, with a sense of belonging, number one. So when you are among people that you feel like you belong or you are part of them, it helps you to even produce feel-good hormones such as oxytocin, the one that is released whenever you're around people that you love, or whenever maybe perhaps you are attached, for example, or even just getting that sense of belonging, which is a good thing for us, because one of the, when it comes to things like depression, you might find some certain theories say that the reason people get depressed is because of alienation, or they feel that maybe they are not connected to people, or they just, maybe they've withdrawn or they've isolated and they feel like they cannot connect better with other people. But
as you're saying that, something just came to mind. How in some countries that have this really cold seasons and seasonal depression comes in, and it's mostly because people are no longer able to have these social connections, interactions. Someone was actually saying that with the weather we're having right now in Kenya, you might be looking at something of that nature coming up. What are your thoughts on that? Let me just hear that.
I think it's actually a truthful fact, and this is because the more isolated you are from other people or withdrawn you are from other people, the higher the chances of you developing depression, or rather the worsened state of the depressive state that you're going to be in. And given the fact that there's what we call the seasonal affective maybe disorder or depression, you'll find that in countries where they don't experience as much sunlight, they might end up having depression because their bodies are not receiving enough of the vitamin D. And currently right now in Kenya, we're maybe in a very cold period of time, like with the floods going on, so people might tend to quickly isolate. So on one fact, there is maybe little sunshine, which predisposes you to depression, and also the more you isolate yourself or you withdraw yourself, the more it might make you more depressed or not well mentally.
Okay, thank you so much for that. You were talking about the other reasons why it's important for us to have social connections.
So having the sense of maybe belonging, that was the first point. Also number 2 would be a sense of accountability, because friends or the social capital that you have would ideally be able to connect with you and actually tell you, here, I think you're not doing right, or you're going wrong in this particular way, or here you could change this and that, or this year you set your goals, like perhaps you wanted to save like 100k, where you at right now, so they help to keep you accountable on the things that you want to achieve, or on some certain behaviors that are maybe not good for you. They tell you, hey, you're spiraling, you're drinking excessively nowadays, what's going on, what's up with you? So they provide you with that sense of accountability. Also, when you have a good social capital, they most of the time you end up getting ideas. Okay, so we can hang out at this particular time. Let's go for a road trip. Let's do this and that. Let's go for a hiking experience. So when you're among this social capital, you're able to just, in a way, exercise, or in a way go out and do these fun activities and fun, hobbies. That
engage more with the world.
Exactly, engage more with the world, explore more, experience more. So they do help with that, and also, let me say, an emotional support from the social capital that we have, because you can't be able to like call someone and tell them you're not feeling very well, or I'm down, I need you to listen to me, or I met this person and they broke my heart, and that they're listening to you or guiding you through it, or just being there for you in whichever season that you are in. So that emotional connection or emotional support that they do provide is essential. And there's also intellectual support that they can even offer you. Maybe this person knows more about accounts and savings and how to grow your finances, or where to invest your money, or do several other things, so they can help you to grow or to expand on your intellectual capacity. So there is a huge benefit to us being in the social connections. I
really like the perspective you brought in. This is a very arguably very basic or mundane conversation, the people in our lives, but the more you talk about it, the more you realize there are things that are there that I hadn't even thought of, like accountability, the friends that I have, the people in my life, and how they hold me up, some of the things that I've set to do, they would follow up on that, allowing me to engage with the world a lot more. Being a homebody, I know that I would have probably spent a whole weekend in the house, but if you have social obligations, then you would have to go outside a bit, get more of that vitamin D as you were talking about. Okay, that's very interesting. I just started by saying that being a homebody, or even to advance that a bit more, some people are naturally introverted. They would be more inclined towards being on their own as compared to forming connections. Some of us probably are extroverted, but those social skills of how to make a friend, exist in a friendship, and sustain it, we are not so empowered in that light. What would you say to someone who's struggling to make social connections? Where would they even start?
Okay. I think it would look like, first of all, even doing a reflection over your own past relationships and your past friendships. How have they been like for you? Where did it come to a point that now you are isolating yourself? What were some of the things that went wrong in the previous relationships that right now make you to find it difficult to connect with other people right now? So it would start with, first of all, reflection. Maybe perhaps as a child, or while you were growing up, you were bullied a lot by other people, maybe classmates or even people who are older. So as a result, when it comes to trying to interact with people, you already have your guards way up high, or you feel like you cannot be able to trust them as a result of the type of bullying that you went through, some time ago. Or even you shared something with your friend, and we hear this a lot of times. I shared something with my friend, and then they ended up spreading, my story around. So it would make them not want to engage further. So So I would start by asking you to like reflect first of all what could be the root problem or the root cause as to why maybe you're finding it difficult to connect with other people, because some things might be like perhaps social anxiety that you're going through, and if you're going through that, then you need to go through therapy to be able to find our way around it, or to even be put on some medications to help you feel a bit calmer or even more relaxed. So you have to first of all reflect what is the challenge here, and once you're able to do that, then it will become easier for you to interact with other people. Maybe for people who are perhaps introverted or even maybe extroverted, I would maybe perhaps advise that they try to be more intentional with the relationships that they already have right now. Okay. So because there are really some relationships that you have, so how intentional are you in terms of maybe meeting up or calling this person or checking in on them, or even deciding to like spend a day or book a particular date for you to meet up with them? I know right now as adults it's difficult because you're working, this is the person is also working, so with time the relationships tend to, you drift apart or you drift away. But if you become more intentional and actually focusing on when you can be able to meet up with the existing relationships, then it will become much more fruitful for you. And maybe if you don't already have these social connections, then it would look like now proactively looking for places that you can interact with other people based on your own interest. So if you like reading, then join a book club. Look up a book club online. Or if you like going on maybe it's you're going on a walk, or you love taking a hike, joining a group that tends to do that way often, or just searching them online. Or if you love doing art or painting, just looking up a club that tends to do such kinds of things. Or maybe Nairobi Art Club, for example, where you can be able to meet with people who have the similar interests. Or if you love like maybe horse riding, maybe as opposed to like you deciding to go at 7 a.m. in the morning or 6 a.m. when there aren't as many people, you can decide to schedule your time to go to at a time where there are at least more people, so you can be able to interact. So it would look like looking first of all at your interest and looking up different clubs or societies that you can be able to join in. Even if it's like a sports club, for example, and you love sporting, then that is a place that you can be able to get the social support that you need. So on those three particular things.
I really like that. And to everyone who's listening to this, what stood out? 3 things. Audit. First of all, we need to audit our past relationships. Why have they not worked out? Why are they not working out? And interestingly, so actually, you might find that there's something that you do. I saw a post today morning about, are we aware of could we be the red flags? And that really raised a lot of questions in my mind. So we also need to look at what role we've played in the relationships we've had and why they've worked out or not. That's the first one. 2, we also have to be intentional, create time. Even as adults, we need to book it in, create time, but also we need to place ourselves out there in those spaces that we already just enjoy being in. So we need to place ourselves out there. I really like how you've broken it down to those 3 factors. If we have someone who is feeling a little bit more isolated through this moment, and they would like to start somewhere, they would like to start making a friend somewhere. I mean, this is I'm throwing you under the bus a little bit, which is one of the most foolproof ways to just make a genuine, healthy friendship.
Okay, I think I'd start by having you reflect on or to read on making small talk. This is easy as that. As easy as small talk.
So small talk in this case might actually not be a bad thing. I'm sure there are very many people who are against small talk. It's not particularly a bad thing.
It's not. So especially when you feel maybe perhaps you're isolated or maybe you struggle with social anxiety, just start looking up on small talk. Like, by the way, this traffic, you know.
Oh, yes.
What's going on nowadays with this, you know, traffic, or just any particular thing that you can find in common with a person that you are around.
Yeah.
It can help you to like sort of break the ice and to have that conversation, as opposed to like maybe it's like learning to take charge of the conversation in a way that you are the one maybe posing questions or asking some, you know, maybe trivial questions in a way.
Yeah.
You're sort of leading the relationship. If you struggle with maybe, you know, the social anxiety, so it's like you're sort of taking back your power in a sense when you're around other people. So starting with the small talks really help as you now build up into deeper types of conversations, even as you are evaluating this person that you're having a small talk with. Who are they? What are they like? What do they do? Are our values also aligned with my own values, so that I don't end up maybe creating a deeper relationship with somebody that our values just tend to conflict completely. Even as you're studying this person or how they're like or their temperaments, it can even help you to decide, okay, I think I'd like to intentionally deepen my relationship with this particular person. So I would start by just getting a book on how to basically do small talk. It would really help. And also, if perhaps you are maybe isolating and this is not your normal self, I would advise that you speak to a therapist, to a clinical psychologist, because there could be some other underlying issues that are going on. So if perhaps, for example, people who are going through depression, one of the symptoms is withdrawal and isolation, right? So you might require professional help or assistance from a psychologist to, first of all, reduce the symptoms of the depression in order for you to even feel comfortable enough to even hold a conversation with other people.
Wow. I like that. First of all, this one is definitely standing out for me. The one time that small talk has a positive connotation to it. It's always, you know, being branded just negatively everywhere. And I'm seeing that it depends on how you're looking at it. Small talk can actually win for the day. And then there's the aspect of looking at the people around us. Is this a deviation from her normal self or his normal self? Were they normally social and now they've withdrawn? And that could be show that something is not right and we need to follow up. As we're looking at social connections, there's us making social connections, but there's also looking at those that are already there. When we look at the people around us, we are able to gauge how they're doing, how to support them, and even call to action if need be. I think this was a very insightful conversation on my part. I hope it was also insightful to everyone who's listening in. And there's going to be a lot more conversations coming up. Please feel free to engage us if you have any questions around matters mental health. Today we're talking about the people in our lives, so feel free to engage us on the comment section. Come to our social media platforms, send those questions in, and we'll make sure to respond to them. We'll have also Magdaline chip in when she gets a moment to respond to some of your questions. And this conversation is actually right on point because it goes along with the Tufunguke initiative. For anyone who's listening to this conversation, Tufunguke is Swahili for let us open up. Let us have conversations around matters mental health, how we're doing. The next person seated next to you, whether they are in the office, whether they're in a matatu, whether it's just that guard who's at the gate, anyone that you talk to has the potential, has the capacity to help you through the challenges that you're going through. So let us not underestimate the social connections that you already have. I have heard of several cases where someone got a lot of support from a complete stranger. Of course, not every stranger is to be trusted. You have to put that out. So I'm leaving it to your own wisdom to see who would be someone who would be helpful. But at the end of the day, let us talk about what you're going through. It would be a shame for you to go through it alone, while there are very many people who are ready and willing to support you. So unless there's anything you would like to add on, Magdaline, I'd like to give you a chance to give a parting shot to our audience as we come towards the end.
Okay. So I'd just like to encourage each and every one of us to really focus on the relationships relationships that we already have, even as we strive to build on the relationships that we'd like to get or to venture into in the future. If you do need maybe perhaps therapy or deeper insights as to what you could be able to do, then you can definitely reach out to us. We have several psychologists at your hospital group who can be able to help you through if it was a case of maybe past time, like bullying, or you went through some sort of betrayal from one of your friends and you're still struggling with it, or you're struggling with making connections with other people right now. I would urge you to reach out to us through our different platforms, engage with the therapist, get into the root cause of what is happening with you, and also you can be able to get different insights and to even heal through the traumas that you have experienced before. So I do encourage us to open up, to try and engage people, and to have more meaningful conversations. So that's my parting shot. Thank you so much for having me on this PodMind episode. I'm really happy to be part of it.
Thank you so much, Magdaline, for being here. For actually anyone who knows, this is also one of those meaningful relationships that have come up. As much as it's work related, but it's one of those that have come up. So this brings us to the end of this conversation. I'd like to appreciate everyone who's been watching and following us, and feel free to share this to anyone who looks or feels like they would need to listen to this. Well, there you have it. That is all we have today on the people in our lives and the impact they play on our mental health. Remember that you're never alone in crisis. In the event that you ever need someone to talk to, you're in crisis and you feel like there's no one else to talk to, please feel free to call us through our toll-free line 0800-220-000. This is manned by a psychologist on the other end 24/7. So please feel free to call us in the event that you need some support. If you would like to walk in, please feel free to walk into any of our branches. We are there in Mudangari Road, that is the Bustani branch. The Braeside branch also in Braeside Gardens. We have the Mother branch in Westlands. We have our Mudidi branch in Westlands. We have the Upper Hill Medical Center outpatient clinic, and we also have another branch in Nyali, Mombasa. So if you'd like to come in, please feel free to walk in at any time and you will be assisted. Remember that we're working together to break the stigma around matters mental health and promote positive mental wellness. Tufunguke.